Hey everyone, before we hit the charts, we've got another free ebook, Top 3 Chart Patterns to Learn. If you want to be a more profitable trader, these are patterns that I use all the time in my trading. How to spot them, tips for better entries, all that good stuff. Created by Lori. Click the link in the comments of this video and check it out. Hey traders, hope you had a good weekend. Checking in on the broader market, we had a gap up open. I approached the day saying I am not comfortable making bullish entries at these levels, as we have not seen a daily trend change back to the bulls. This move is coming straight off the lows, and it's a bit extended to the upside. So I made the game plan that I'm going to be looking for bearish entries in some of the relatively weaker names, and if the bulls keep control for the day, I'm just going to stop out, either break even or small losses, and sit on my hands from there because I'm not comfortable making long entries up at these levels. So, long story short, that's what happened. The morning started really well for all the bear entries that I was scouting because they showed relative weakness, but you have a scenario where Apple just completely put the market on its back today. And you've heard me, if you've been watching these videos many times, I'll say Apple is the most important individual name in the stock market because of the amount of holdings that it has, or I should say the amount of holdings that QQQ, the ETF, has of Apple, and SPY. It's just the most heavily weighted individual name. So you have a day like today where Apple was weaker at the end of last week. The daily bounce started on Thursday and followed through a bit into Friday, but if you look at SPY, the bounce was much more developed on Friday than for QQQ, or I should say than for Apple. And Apple played catch up in a big way today. Look at the volume today. Tied with the highest volume day that we've seen in over a month. And it was just straight shot up. Definitely periods of consolidation, but compared to QQQ, you had individual names in QQQ selling off. You had weakness in other places, but Apple just kept persisting higher. And so somebody is buying a whole bunch of Apple. When's the last time I've said that? Well, we said it on this weekly move. That was very clearly the case as to what was going on as well. And so here Apple sits now about 10% from all-time highs. So it's the kind of scenario where you can have relative weakness, but it can only last for so long. And the analogy that I gave in a live stream today for ChartGuys members was you can have a river with a current, and then you can have these swirling currents on the side of the river that are going against it, but they only last so long. They swirl around for a little bit, then they hit the main current, and then they start going with the main current again. So it was that scenario for the broader market where Apple just kept grinding higher. Apple was holding up QQQ, QQQ was holding up SPY, and it was just astounding to watch the impact that the individual name Apple had on everything that I was watching trade. So hourly uptrend remained intact. We did see some consolidation along the way, but we can see morning bull move, hourly higher low. The check marks that were missing for the bears today were, again, the 4 check marks. Bulls want to see QQQ leading. It was. QQQ was a lead bull today. Bulls want to see all major sectors hit the high of the day at the same time. That happened today for the 4th day in a row. Every single day of this bounce, that has happened. So that was a check mark for the bulls. The VIX was showing relative strength, and it opened higher. That was not a check mark for the bulls. And the dollar also was bouncing today a bit. We'll look at it in just a moment, but not a check mark for the bulls. But in the end, the bulls held on, and here we are right up at the high after hours. The S&P 500 futures chart, are we overbought? Not really. 4-hour time frame, it's overbought, but we're just grinding higher right now. Again, we're in a market environment where we just go from extreme to extreme. Extreme fear to FOMO to fear to FOMO. And now we've just got even more space for a daily higher low to be the result of next consolidation, which I'm going to be patiently watching for. Essentially, in the short term, I'm watching for a top to be set and for daily consolidation to take place. And then after a couple days, I'll be looking for daily higher lows in our stronger names. QQQ, same story. Hourly EMA 12. Higher lows holding. Up at the highs after hours. Resistance is the Powell Friday high of 321.51. And we can see SPY. That resistance is 419.96. Those are the next major resistance levels we're watching. We've gapped up twice in a row. We've got CPI numbers tomorrow pre-market. We're going to see a volatile reaction to that, in my opinion. It's either going to be a catalyst to start shaping up daily consolidation or a bull push for another leg higher. And if that were to be the case, I would still be scouting a short tomorrow. So the way that today played out, I was looking at some weaker names, NVDA. So NVDA had plenty of drops today for the bears, but they just didn't follow through in a significant way. So the way that I was playing it is I was making day trades, I was exiting partial positions, and then I was trying to let a runner for a swing trade play out because I wanted to hold for daily consolidation. So essentially I would just stop out of my runners, and a very uneventful day for me overall. Unfortunately, better than a red day, but just null and void. After NVDA, XBI was the same thing. Look at all the weakness in XBI. First thing, a 15-minute dump, V-shaped bounce, but then gave it back again. There's multiple 2% drops in there, 1 to 2% drops, which is 3 to 6% bull moves on LABD, and it was the same thing. I made a bear trade, I had a decent entry, I took some partial profit, and I stopped out of the rest. And the third one was TLRY. These are the top 3 names I was watching bearish. We double topped with the high of Friday. Great pullback for the bears. Drop of 3%, but just got it all back. And again, it was relative weakness. Bears positioned really well at the broader market. Starts any consolidation. Broader market does not start any consolidation. Relative weakness fades, and bulls take back over. Semiconductors. So again, not quite the strong day that most other sectors saw. The hourly pulled back enough on the morning to potentially create space for an hourly lower high to be the result of the next bounce. So still keeping an eye. Same thing tomorrow. I'm going to be watching wherever there's relative weakness, and I'm watching for the semiconductors to give us daily lower highs. We'll see how we shape up. Again, I can't really say how I'm going to be approaching tomorrow morning until I see what the CPI reaction is, because a gap up I'm going to be approaching very different than a lower open. Tesla is a relative bull. The weekly time frame, big quick turnaround. And so the daily is not in an uptrend, same as SPY and QQQ, but we've got tons of space for the daily high or low. I'm scouting the relatively weaker names for daily consolidation. I'm scouting the relatively stronger names for daily higher lows. Solar names are stronger. Some of the EV names like Tesla are stronger. Who else? Apple is now one of the stronger names. Hourly uptrend is our guide. Higher low 301.12, higher low 302.15. When the higher lows are lost, when hourly EMA 12 is lost, we'll be shaping up daily consolidation. We'll zoom out and we'll scout the daily higher low. NIO had a big day for bulls today. How's that for a V shape? Ever since earnings, we gapped down on earnings, and it's been nothing but a big bull move since then. Very impressive. It's another name that has a ton of space for a daily higher low to be the result of the next pullback from here. Highest volume day in over a month. Very unusual to have a volume day like today dwarf earnings volume. Earnings volume is usually way higher, but definitely a bit of a short squeeze over the past couple of days. NIO might make its way back on my radar for trading. Certainly some very significant volatility over the last month. Healthcare still continuing its bull move. Upper wick, so hourly consolidation into the end of the day. Still an hourly uptrend. Well, you could, a couple pennies there. It's an hourly uptrend for me, unless we drop down and break the low of today, tomorrow. Then we scout the daily higher low with tons of space for it to form. This bounce in healthcare was one of the stronger sector bounces. The financial sector, still going. High of Friday, Powell Friday high, 34.92 in play. Not many names are testing that level right now. And again, the weekly perspective, big old bounce, no daily uptrend. But if we confirm a daily uptrend from here, wherever we top out, we'll just be knocking on the door of the recent high to try and confirm the weekly uptrend, which is why those daily trend changes will be so important as to whether or not they can take shape. IWM continuing its move, second gap up, open in a row. So again, if it's a bullish reaction to CPI tomorrow, some names are going to potentially give us a third gap up open in a row, which is a bearish reversal pattern. Same thing for most names. Hourly uptrend is our guide. When we lose it, we scout the daily high or low. The difference is some names are relatively stronger and some names are relatively weaker. The biotech sector broke the low of Friday, but zero follow through because the broader market bulls kept strong and closed up at the highs. There's a little wall of resistance, 88.83, 88.73. So just under 89, a little short-term resistance zone. But overall, the weekly uptrend remains intact and the bulls are going to be attempting to confirm this inverse head and shoulders. Solar weekly is attempting to confirm a bull flag. Some of the individual names have already done so. ENPH did it. FSLR didn't even need to do it. It's just been a big time lead bull. Not all-time highs, but decade highs. SPWR, weekly bull flag confirmed. But TAN has not done so yet. It is one of the stronger names where we were watching for a daily high or low next pullback. Multiple inside bars. We're going to see some volatility pick up tomorrow as things get really tight here. CMPS volatility is going to pick up. This is a psychedelic name. But look at how tight we're getting with this base of support at 15. We know we're going to see a volume and volatility spike this week on CMPS. Either a bull break of 1660 or a bear break of 15. As far as cannabis, keeping an eye out for that daily consolidation. Bears started with a nice rejection to start the day, but by the end of the day, bulls following through. USMJ relative weakness is screaming. Again, the last 4 days, the market has done this. We bounced for 1 day and then hit fresh lows today. So red flags persist. And if you look at MSOS divided by SPY, we're just falling off a cliff as far as brief relative strength, but giving it back. The dollar, so same thing is, it's the exact inverse to stocks. The dollar bears must confirm a daily downtrend next time we bounce if we're going to believe that they have any follow through. We've been holding weekly EMA 12 support for the last 6 months. If we do not lose it, nothing changes. Weekly consolidation is nice. Bounces in metals and miners and crypto and stocks is nice. But if the weekly uptrend persists in the dollar, we're not going to believe that any of these bounces in any of the sectors that I just mentioned can have follow through. CCJ uranium started daily consolidation today. No bear follow through as the broader market bulls held on. Was watching a rising wedge on the 4-hour chart. Still potentially in play. I think I had it already breaking though. Yeah, I had it break. Just a scenario where we started the morning weak. The bears proved themselves on the morning. Look at that 3% drop in 15 minutes. But broader market bulls held on. Bears just didn't get any help. Thanks to Apple. I made a good meme tweet. This is the first meme creation, but this was today. The dollar, nope, the gold is a potential 4-hour rising wedge. Why am I looking for a rising wedge? Because every bull break that we see lacks follow through. What do I mean by lacks follow through? We break resistance straight into candles of consolidation. We break resistance straight into candles of consolidation. We break resistance straight into candles of consolidation. So it's a 4-hour potential rising wedge. The daily bounce on gold is not really impressive, but it is a weekly double bottom. And this support zone on gold has held 8 times or so in the last 2 years. And bulls are attempting to defend it again. On this current bounce, anything under 1808 is just a lower high. So bulls are playing defense. They're not doing much on offense. Silver bulls went on offense. Big standout day today. the weekly bear break with 0 follow through stands out. There's a potential inverse head and shoulders trying to shape up. If we were to fail resistance of 2087, still possible to set up the weekly trend change. XAU XAG shows us relative strength and weakness versus gold and silver. And bulls want to see silver leading, showing risk on appetite. And we're seeing the most weakness in this chart, meaning silver is the strongest it's been comparative to gold over the last 2 weeks. Most significantly in the last year and a half almost. So that's very notable to us. That's definitely getting our attention. Metal bulls want silver to be leading to the upside. Why? Go back and look at all bull markets in the metals and how it played out and who was leading. And when we topped out, how did we top out? Watch the XAU XAG chart, line it up with the metals chart. Do some historical analysis. Oil, daily resistance of 90.39 coming into play. Still watching for the monthly high or low. EMA 12 trying to hold it. I will be watching for the potential of a monthly lower high to be the result of the next bounce because of the size of this pullback. Step 1, the bulls must confirm a daily trend change. If they do, probabilities of a monthly high or low being set will increase a little bit. But for now, we are still in a weekly and daily downtrend. Bouncing with the market as the dollar has been pulling back over the last few days. Natural gas was very weak to start this week, trying to negate the daily bear flag. Big bull move you can see. That's almost a 10% move. Still extremely volatile. I guess it's 7%. Is 7 almost 10? If we bounce and hold weekly support of 762, we will have to be watching for the potential of a head and shoulders. But after being very weak on its bounce, trying to play a little bit of catch up. So pretty much the way the last 4 trading days have gone, and you look at Bitcoin as well, if you're not following crypto, that's what Bitcoin's been doing. Everything is going inverse to the dollar. The commodities are all bouncing, stocks, crypto, everything is bouncing inverse to the dollar. And as I mentioned recently in a different live stream, the dollar is being watched, in my opinion. I mean, I'm watching the dollar the last year more than I've ever watched it in my 12-year trading career. And so if that's the case for me, I know it's the case for a lot of people, which tells me the dollar is getting the most attention that it has gotten in a very long time. And so, in my opinion, it will be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If the dollar continues to weaken, traders and investors are going to use that as a potential go signal for putting capital back into play. So the inverse relationship becomes a more self-fulfilling prophecy. The more it's talked about, the more traders look for it. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. The question now is, can the bears confirm the daily downtrend? How do we respond to weekly EMA 12, which has held the last 3 tests over the last 6 months? I hope you had a great weekend. We'll see what tomorrow brings on the CPI reaction. Watching bearish for daily consolidation in the short term. Watching bullish for daily higher lows in the midterm. Do good things.